On a quiet, snowy evening, Jack and Joe found an old letter tucked inside a dusty book by the fire. The letter was written in elegant handwriting, faded but full of warmth. As Jack read it aloud, Joe listened in silence, their eyes reflecting the flickering flames. It spoke of an old friend, of shared laughter, and a goodbye never said. They sat a little closer after that, hearts warmed by words that still mattered. "Joe, wake up," whispered Jack. "I've packed a midnight picnic." Joe yawned and grabbed his blanket. "Where are we going?" he asked sleepily. They tiptoed through the garden where fireflies danced like tiny lanterns. Under the old oak tree, they shared jam sandwiches and watched the stars shimmer. "I think this is my favorite kind of adventure," Joe smiled. Jack purred in agreement. Every morning Jack checked the mailbox, hoping for a letter that never came. "It's from an old friend," he whispered. "I don't know if they still remember me." The days grew quiet. Joe tried to make him laugh, but Jack just kept watching the road. One evening, Jack sat beside the empty box. Joe laid down with him, not saying a word. Then one morning, the letter was there, and so was Joe, smiling beside him. One breezy morning, Jack saw a golden leaf swirling like it was dancing. Joe chased after it with joyful hops, barking softly, "Wait for me!" The leaf floated higher and suddenly dipped into the woods. They followed it past mushrooms, mossy logs, and sleepy butterflies. Then the leaf landed right between them, like it was saying, "Jack and Joe walked side by side, but not too close. Something still hung in the air. They sat near the stream, saying nothing, just listening to the water move. Joe slowly nudged a small yellow flower toward Jack, without a word. Jack looked at Joe, then gently rested his head against his friend's shoulder. They stayed like that for a while, just breathing the same quiet air. Every evening, as the last light faded, Jack and Joe climbed onto the couch together. Same spot, same time. Jack always claimed the warm corner. Joe didn't mind. He liked it that way. Some nights they listened to the rain, and others they just listened to each other breathe. They didn't need to talk. The space between them was already full of meaning. That corner of the couch, it wasn't just warm, it was home. Jack and Joe don't live in our world anymore, but they're not gone, not really. They crossed into a place made just for them, a forever meadow where all kinds of pets come to rest, play, and be whole again. They nap beneath sun-dappled trees, chase the wind, and sit by the stream just like they always did. Still together, always. Sometimes, under the stars, they remember the ones who loved them, and that love is what keeps their hearts full. They're not gone, they're just waiting. In a forever place shaped by love, where tails still wag and hearts stay light. Joe was ready to zoom through the meadow, until Jack stopped and whispered, "Shh, look." Jack pointed with his tail. A tiny snail, then another and another. "They're marching," Joe whispered. "They're so slow." Joe stood up. "I'm marching too," he said, very, very slowly. Jack smiled. "Sometimes slow is perfect." Joe just nodded, still mid-march. Jack found a shiny red button in the grass all alone and a little shy. Joe said, "It must have a story," and off they went to find where it belonged. They asked a squirrel, a robin, even a sleepy hedgehog, but no one had lost a button. Then they saw a little doll on a picnic bench, crying with one arm bare. Joe sewed the button back with his tongue sticking out, and the doll gave them both a hug. Joe found a little basket hiding in the tall grass. Jack followed, curious as ever. Each slip of paper held a quiet hope, words written with love, waiting to be heard. The wind stirred, and the basket began to glow. A dream rose up, soft and full of memory. Jack and Joe left a message of their own, just 4 words: "May every pet find love." They curled up close beside the basket, and the wind carried their wish into the world. When the world felt too big and noisy, Jack and Joe had a secret place no one else knew. Behind the garden, they made a soft little nest. Only the wind and butterflies were allowed in. Joe curled up first, nose under Jack's chin. Jack's tail wrapped gently around him like a promise. Sometimes they napped. Sometimes they just watched the clouds drift by. When they came home, paws dusty and hearts light, they always carried a bit of the quiet with them. One night, Jack heard a strange crinkle from the pantry. He tiptoed past the sleepy garden shadows, tail twitching with curiosity. Inside the pantry, he found Joe sitting in a pile of empty snack wrappers. Joe froze mid-crunch, wide-eyed and covered in cookie crumbs. "I couldn't sleep without a treat," Joe whispered, ears drooping. Jack just purred and sat beside him, stealing a bite of the last cookie. They made a quiet midnight pact. Share everything, even secrets. And maybe keep a tiny snack stash behind the broom, wrapped in a tea towel by the pantry door. They dozed off together. Moonlight smiled down on 2 full bellies and one unforgettable night. Joe came bounding in from the garden, tail high and muddy paws flying. In his mouth, something squashed, dirty, and clearly very important. Jack looked up from the cushion, curious but wary. He'd seen this look before. Joe dropped the mess at Jack's paws like a proud knight returning with treasure. It was a flower, or what was left of one, muddy, wilted, but offered with love. Jack blinked once, then leaned down and gently nudged it closer. Joe wagged so hard his whole back wiggled, watching Jack accept the gift. Jack gave a soft purr and curled his tail round it like it was the finest rose. It wasn't perfect, but love never is, not when it's real. And Jack knew this muddy flower meant everything. Joe barked at the hollow tree, and it barked back. He froze, eyes wide, ears up. He barked again, woof, from the tree. Woof! Right back. Jack stepped forward and let out a murrow. The echo whispered back, murrow. They took turns calling out, giggling with every echo. The tree answered each one, like it was playing too. When the echoes faded, they curled up by the roots. "Let's visit our echo friend again tomorrow," whispered Joe. Follow us for more soothing stories with Jack and the Forever Puppy Joe.